Hi everyone, this is my week 1 discussion board post about becoming a culturally competent counselor. So the first question is what are the 4 things I plan to do to become a culturally competent counselor? I think the first thing that I want to do is to continue exploring my own biases and kind of see where I stand in that area and pay attention to my initial reactions to things, my assumptions, my judgments that kind of come up immediately. And then ask myself why I'm feeling that way. And then this will hopefully lead to me recognizing the biases that I might not even know that I have. So I think that's a good place for me to start. The second thing that I want to do is to be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations, which I think this class kind of forces us to do a little bit, which is nice. But even in practice, not avoiding a topic just because it makes me uncomfortable, exploring why I feel comfortable, especially with my supervisor. I think that's a really important place to go because I've actually done this already before, and like talking about countertransference and things like that. So I think it's important to be upfront with myself and honest, and then be able to talk to my supervisor and my peers about it and see what other people think and kind of explore that more. And I'm also open to being challenged and then learning from it. Like, I am not a perfect human. So I know I'm going to make mistakes. Do I want to make them? No, but I know it's going to happen. It's happened already. Nothing huge, but I mean, there are definitely things that I don't know because I'm not a counselor yet. So I'm still learning, and I think it's important for me to take those challenges and the mistakes and learn from them. So yeah, the third thing I think I need to do is to learn from people with experiences that are different from my own. Starting by listening to all of you, all your different perspectives and what you guys bring to the table, I think is really important. So I'm excited to hear from all of you. And I am a huge fan of learning. So I think continuing to educate myself and read and research and do things like that after this course, and during this course, is going to be beneficial to keep me culturally competent. And I also want to add that I don't expect clients to be the responsible party for educating me on their culture and things of that nature. I do think it's important to not assume things onto clients. So that's not something I want to do, but like asking them, like, hey, are there any values or things that you think will help your counseling experience that we can use in counseling, and kind of talk about those things, and then I can do my own research on those things to help the client further. And then the fourth thing in becoming a culturally competent counselor is to just start practicing cultural humility. I think I already do a little bit of it, but I mean, this is honestly probably like the second time I'm hearing about this. So yeah, I am a big proponent of not assuming I understand somebody. People are the expert on their own lives, and just because I know about their culture doesn't mean I know about them. So I think, like I said before, asking clients what part of their culture and their identity is important to them is important to counseling, and it's important to me. And then I think another thing is that I also need to remember that clients are, like I said, the expert on their own lives, and I think the power dynamic is very important to pay attention to in therapy, because you don't want to be the counselor that's just assuming that because somebody looks the same as you or somebody has the same culture as you or values or whatever, that they're the same as you, because that's not true at all. So I think it's really important to have that client-centered perspective on things. I think some of the challenges that I might encounter is first saying the wrong thing and offending somebody. Because I'm kind of self-conscious about this, it hasn't happened to me yet, but I am aware of it, which when I'm in session, I do kind of double guess myself before I say things sometimes, especially when we're talking about pretty deep things. So like, because I don't want to make it worse. And yeah, so that's something I need to kind of look at, and I might encounter it more. Obviously, I've already encountered it. I think another thing is that hearing perspectives that challenge my own beliefs or experiences might be a challenge, because I am open-minded, but I mean, we all have our own set of beliefs and values. So I think that challenging my own and being able to remain open-minded and stay kind of on the course for what we're talking about without implementing my own things into the conversation with a client is very important. And learning how to do that, and then learning kind of like myself, like what I am doing to perpetuate that in my own head. And I think another encounter would be learning to acknowledge my mistakes without like becoming like defensive. Not that I really do that, but I feel like that might be something that I struggle with if this does happen in session. Not like saying that a client is going to like piss me off or something. I've actually had a client cuss me out already, and I was able to kind of just like remain calm and be like, we can do this assessment later, like we don't have to do this now. So I was able to not become defensive, but yeah. So I think those are some of the challenges that I'm kind of thinking of that I could encounter. The next thing would be working on my own biases and examining my cultural identity. I think that when I think about this, it's how my family, my upbringing, my community where I went to high school, my values, my experiences, where I went to college, who I'm about to marry, like all these things have shaped me. And I think it's important to be able to question things that I've always considered to be normal, because something that's normal to me might not be a normal experience of somebody else. So yeah. And then I think using self-awareness in my clinical work is going to be really important. I try to do the best that I can with this already by asking for feedback whenever I can get it. It's hard to get feedback at my internship site, so I think this is kind of something that I have to really be self-critical a lot, which is something I am good at. So recognizing when my personal values and experiences might be influencing how I view my client is important, and I want to be a counselor who becomes curious about things instead of just making assumptions, and then asking those questions to the client in order to make sure that we're doing everything we can to move therapy in a direction that's positive for them. The film that stood out to me the most, I actually liked them all. They were pretty good. But the one that stood out to me the most was Cultural Humility, People, Principles, and Practices. This one stood out to me because it was really emphasizing that cultural humility is a lifelong process. I think this one kind of explained it the best, in my opinion. I was able to kind of get more out of this video. And I liked that it pointed out that there's never going to be a time where I'm going to know everything about culture, and it's something that's always evolving, and self-reflection is the most important part, and just continuing your education on things, because like I said, we're all human and we're not perfect and we don't know everything. So continuing to learn is, I think, the most important part about being cultural humility. So yeah, one of the things I learned from this video is that two people who share a cultural identity can still have completely different experiences from one another, and just because you look the same, you have the same upbringing, you did all the same things, doesn't mean you had the same, you're not the same. There's different things that influence you, all the different categories. So I think that's really important to understand that there's no two people that are the same, even siblings. So I think it's important to recognize that and keep that with you in the counseling space. I think the thing that challenged me in the video was that it's easier to think cultural competence means learning about other people when it's really about evolving and being able to keep learning and keep an open mind about things and not assuming, and then also checking yourself. So yeah, that's my discussion post. Thank you for watching.